Welcome to Fraser and Dieter's Culture of Compliance podcast series, where we discuss compliance as a competitive advantage in today's marketplace. I'm Sabrina Serafin, partner and national leader of Fraser and Dieter's process, risk, and governance practice. And today we're talking to Mary-Michael Horowitz, CEO of Asylas, a Nashville-based security, privacy, and risk consulting firm that offers a variety of risk and compliance-based advisory services, including penetration testing, vulnerability management, and awareness training. Mary-Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
We're all aware that cybersecurity is an enormous problem for modern businesses. You regularly present on the topic of cybersecurity, and a term that consistently resonates with audience is that we need to stay woke. Mary-Michael, can you tell us what staying woke means and how it pertains to protecting information assets?
Sure thing. I had to Google what staying woke means myself when my son told me that that's what I needed to do about a year and a half ago. But being woke means aware of and actively attentive to important facts and issues, actively being the key word there. And as it relates to information assets, it's critical to businesses that they are paying attention to the latest threats, and then, of course, training their employees to be vigilant. Stay woke.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the industry of cybercrime and what companies have to be aware of?
Well, the industry of cybercrime is booming, that's for sure. I think the conservative estimates from 2018 have cybercrime revenues at $1.5 trillion. Individual earnings for cyber criminals can average $166,000 per month, which is 10 to 15% higher than most traditional crimes, and there's less risk for these criminals. So it's very, very appealing. And just reading an article yesterday about a group called GandCrab that wrote a ransomware malware, and they were announcing on the dark web that they were shutting down their ransomware. They had earned over $2 billion. They were going to quit while they were hot, and they were bragging about it. On the other hand, we always say there's a shortage of security professionals. That's not necessarily true. There's just a shortage of security professionals on the good side, because if you look at the FBI's website, a job posting for a special agent in the cyber division, on the low end, the salary is $46,000, and on the high end, it's $130,000. And money is obviously the top motivator for all of these breaches. I think 76% of the breaches, they were motivated by money, and we can see that they're making lots of it. And the good guys are not making lots of it, so that's what we're up against.
So how do cyber criminals actually target an organization? Can you share with our audience the steps of a cyber attack?
It's important to differentiate targeted and non-targeted attacks. Non-targeted attacks tend to be, automated in nature. They cast a wide net with phishing emails or scams or different types of things that are intended to, cast a wide net and see what comes back. The equivalent of, walking through a neighborhood and just jiggling door handles to see what comes up. And then, of course, you've got your targeted attacks, which is what you asked about. And those are extremely methodical. They're very calculated and scary. They tend to do more damage. That's when someone is motivated in some way to target a specific organization, and they go through the phases Lockheed Martin coined a cyber kill chain that's not unlike the tactics of war. The same tactics are used when a cyber criminal is attacking an organization. They go through the reconnaissance phase, and then they move on to a weaponization phase, then the delivery phase, exploitation phase, installation phase, command and control, and then actions on objectives. So very, very calculated approach to an attack, and they wreak havoc on organizations when they are targeting them. And it's really difficult when someone is in the crosshairs of a cyber criminal to protect yourselves. And people are falling victim more and more. And we're trying to help organizations become more aware of what's out there and make themselves a more expensive target, so that the cyber criminals will just move on to the next target and not waste their time trying to get past all of the defensive controls that an organization has in place.
Well, it sounds like a criminal act where, in being complacent or lax with security, the victim inadvertently can become the wrongdoer. Do you have an example of a simple mistake that led to huge losses for an organization?
Absolutely. We have clients reach out to us on a regular basis when something's happened. That tends to be a big driver for reaching out to a cybersecurity company. And a lot of times, or most of the time, what we find is that they've done nothing to prepare themselves for an event. or to make themselves aware of what's out there. Zero information security policies, no two-factor authentication, no awareness training whatsoever. We had an example recently where a human resources lady was using the same login credentials for her Facebook account that she was using for the company payroll system. And then on one Friday, all of the paychecks for the entire organization were being diverted to an account in the Ukraine. And again, when we say, well, what were you doing? We start to point the finger at the organization. We're used to there was some compassion when these types of things happened years and years ago because we didn't know enough, and now we do. Another example is the city of Baltimore. They just experienced their second ransomware attack in 15 months. And so they were really, really being dragged through the mud relating to their complacency around cybersecurity because this is now the second time it's happened. They were down for weeks and weeks and weeks, and not doing the basic things, tends to not only make you a victim, but then have everybody start to point their finger at you for being complacent.
What are some of the biggest misunderstandings around cybersecurity? And talk to us about what an organization can do today to continue to, so to speak, stay woke.
A big misconception that we see is the fingers crossed approach that it won't happen to us. Nobody wants our information. And, we talked about the targeted and non-targeted attacks, and you might not ever become a target for a threat actor, but you could be the victim of a non-targeted attack very, very easily, and that's the most common type. You can go to look at a heat map, all of the different automated attacks that are happening in real time, and you can see how prolific these types of things are. And so the fingers crossed approach is just an abomination, quite frankly, for organizations to not pay attention and to do the right things. And even businesses that are attempting to tackle security are still not doing it in a real meaningful way. They're not training their employees enough. They're doing some training. Maybe they're doing some online training every year. As we all know, human behavior doesn't change or, with just an online quiz or an online 1-hour training session. I think the most important thing folks can do is hit employees with as much information as they possibly can, as regularly as they can, in as many ways as they can. The biggest, most impactful thing I can say is to organizations around training is, when an employee is onboarded, at the end of week 1, they should be going home and telling their families, wow, my new company is not messing around with security. They have beat it into my head since I walked in the door, and they are really, really taking this stuff seriously. And if you can't say that about your organization, then I think you need to take a look at that. I think it's the biggest return on your investment that you can get. And, it needs to be woven into the fabric of every department, every employee, and certainly considered when making any business decisions.
Well said, Mary-Michael. Thank you for being with us today and sharing your advice on how to stay woke in the current cyber landscape. You've provided our listeners with some interesting ideas to consider for their organizations. And thank you, our audience, for listening to Fraser and Dieter's Culture of Compliance podcast. Please join us for our next episode as we continue to discuss transforming compliance requirements into investments in your business.
Thanks for listening to one of Fraser and Dieter's branded podcasts. To learn more, connect with us on LinkedIn or visit us at fraserdieter.com and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.